Okay, so I'm back in my templates home, okay? And first thing we need to do is we actually need to give it a title. So I'm going to say block title and end block. And the title is going to be Yum Search, okay? Just to give it a nice title. And I'm going to delete this hello world. Okay, so let's start off. Let's say div class main header. And inside of this, let's say div class container. And then let's create a row, so div class row. And I'm actually going to give this row a padding. So I'm going to add an additional style and say padding top 175 pixels. Now, the way I got to this number is just trial and error when I was trying this application out myself. If you want, you can actually leave this out and see how it looks compared to the version that I'm going to create and compare what you see on my screen and what you have on your screen. And then you can actually go ahead and implement this in the style and actually play around with this number, okay? So like that, it's also a way of learning, CSS or the basics of CSS. Okay, inside of this row, I'm going to create a h1. And this h1 is going to have a class of home h1, which is a class I provide in my style.css, and I'm going to simply say yum search, okay? And then I'm going to create a div, call lg6, div of class call lg6, call lg offset 3, and inside of here, I'm going to create a form. So this will be the form that holds our input box to actually perform the searches. And the action is going to be /search because that's the request handler that's handling our search requests. And the method needs to be get, okay, because it handles get requests. Inside of this form, I'm going to add another div. So div class input group form group, because again we're going to group the input with a button, so we need to add this form group class. And I'm actually going to add this time form group LG to make this button really big and the input really big, okay? Now we can actually go ahead and implement our input. So input type text class is going to be form control, call lg6 because I want it to be 6 columns wide, and the placeholder is going to be, for example, search recipes, and the name of this field is going to be Q. So we need to pick up, remember in our request handler at /search picks up the parameter sent with the name of Q. So that's why we need to name this Q. And the last thing I need to do is add a span for my button called class input group button. Okay, and now I can go ahead and implement the button. So this will be button class btn primary and btn lg also because I want it to be a big button. The type is going to be button, and here again I'm going to add a icon, so I class fa search, okay, and I believe this is it. So let's go to home, refresh, and see what happens. Okay, so we can see we have a big yum search, we have a big input and a nice button here. But one thing we are lacking is our image, okay? There's a background image in the style I've created. So let's open up our style.css. And here in the class main header, which I've previously created, we see that we have a background with pointing to the URL of /static img home.jpg, okay? So what we need to do is we need to actually place the image that I have attached to the lecture as an attachment. So go ahead and download that asset or download that image and place it into the static IMG folder. Okay, so I'm going to do this as well. Okay, so on the left hand side, I have my downloads folder open and I have downloaded the home.jpg. So I'm just going to copy it. And then I'm going to go to my project into the IMG folder and paste it in here. Okay, so this should have us covered. So now if I quit out of the two windows and refresh here, I see I have my background image. So this is all and very nice. Let's just check if our search box is working. So olives, enter, and we see we're getting to our search results. Okay, so this is fantastic. Okay, so guess what, everyone? We're ready to move on to our last development section. Okay, so the next section will be the last section where we will actually be writing code, and it's actually going to be a really important section because we're going to build our parser, and in building parsers is extremely useful because it allows you to automate the process of extracting data from a given source and actually structure this information according to what you think is the best structure for that information. So in our case, we are going to be parsing recipes and we're going to be extracting values such as the title, such as the ingredients, and such as the directions and the photo. And we're going to be saving this in the model of our information, so in our model of our recipes. And this is a very useful skill to have because this will allow you to automate certain processes, whether you are building your startup or whether you're working for a company and you're maybe trying to analyze some data. Well, this will always be very handy for you to go out and to be able to parse information, because it's just a very productive way of extracting and mining for information. And for our use case, it will allow us to actually quickly fill up our website with information. So users don't come into our website and see maybe one or two recipes that we have posted, but instead when they come to our website, they will be able to search for recipes and they will have potentially, thousands and hundreds of thousands of recipes already on our website. So, just by doing one parser, we're able to give a really good experience to our users because they come and suddenly they find thousands and thousands of recipes on our website, even though we have just launched it. So this will be a really nice feature. And additionally, we will also learn how to do parsing on App Engine in a very scalable way because we will assign dedicated resources for the parser so it doesn't steal resources off of our website. So, if some users are searching for stuff on our website and our parser is there, hogging the resources, then the experience of searching may be, slower. So we're going to learn how to do it in the scalable way where we actually dedicate separate resources to the parser. Okay. So all of this will be in the next section, so I can't wait to get started.